And here we are once again. It's Tuesday, your favorite time of the week, because it's time for Musical Hangout, the only music broadcast that asks spooky questions like if a haunted house is destroyed, where do all the ghosts go? I need answers. Zach Hval, singer, songwriter, guitar player extraordinaire. Links are in the description if you're watching this on the YouTube. Links are forced down your throat if you're watching this on Instagram. This is live. We're here, we're doing it now, but if you're watching this in the future, it will not be live. But at this particular juncture in time, we are live, and we're about to hack and slash like a red-hot Ginsu through funk-fused blues psychedelia. Does anybody remember Ginsu knives? Ginsu knives were basically the start of everything that you hate about infomercials and daytime television. And they were originally called Quicket knives. They have their origin back, I believe, the factory. They're still made in Arkansas and I believe parts of Ohio. But they were called Quicket knives. But some marketing guru decided that was a terrible name, because it is, and changed the names to Ginsu knives. And to invoke the Japanese steel. You know, it's like if Hattori Hanzai, if Zatoichi the Blind Swordsman was up in there dicing up onions for Thanksgiving, he'd be using a Ginsu knives. And they became popular they pioneered, I should say, the hard sell and harker techniques on the TV infomercial format. You know, they'd say, what price would you pay for this? Don't think, act now. Our operators are standing by. Real hard sell techniques to get these. Well, basically, I have to tell you, I would have to assume that just given the time frame that these came out, that their main target demographics, shall we say, were housewives in the 1960s and 1970s. And the knives speak for themselves. They sold like 80 million, not 80 million, I think like 8.5 million units between like 1970 and 1980. So they can't be terrible knives. In fact, they're still sold to this day. You can find them at Target or Walmart. If you're a dad, you probably get them for Father's Day. I know that if I had the money, I would spend $70 to get my dad a nice set of Ginsu knives. Musical Hangout, folks. We learn things. We experiment with things. Ginsu knives and whatnot. Making sure I got all my who's-its in a row. I remembered to hit record this time. Hold your applause. We're gonna get nasty, folks. I'm gonna do a lot of original material tonight, folks, just to check in, just to see where I'm at. As you know, if you've been tuning into these broadcasts here week after week, I occasionally will bring out new tunes to try on. And so I've stockpiled enough here. I want to start recording some of these, but I got to know how they feel live and direct. So I'm going to burn through some new tunes here. But before we do that, I'm going to take you back to the year of 1962 to a little place called Memphis and do a little tune by a group called Booker T and the MGs. This is a little bit of that Green Onions, a great song to play on the Fender Telecaster. So, got away from me there at the end, but that's how we do it. Are you not entertained? Are your corns not cured? It's been a little bit cold here, so we're going to warm up some corns. Yeah. Booker T and the MGs, they were the house band for the Stax record label. So basically what that means is, say you got a cat like me, wants to go in and record a tune and needs a backing band. Well, Booker T and the MGs were that band. So that means they played for, Albert King. Now, I believe, if memory serves me well, because Albert King was on the Stax record label, this we know for sure, I believe they played on the infamous Born Under a Bad Sign record from 1963. But they also were their own kind of outfit. They pioneered the Memphis soul sound. They were really the kind of a... Well, they spawned a lot of copies, so you know they made some good music. And they released that song, Green Onions, not quite like that, in 1962 as a single. And that song's been featured in just about everything. If I say, the song title, Green Onions, if you're, this audience might know it. But, the common man on the street, the average Joe, might not know what you mean by that. They might think you mean the food green onions, which are great, and nachos and things like that. Be that as it may, Green Onions was a hit single for Booker T and the MGs in 1962. My version is based off the Roy Buchanan version. He did it on his 1970 album, Loading Zone. But the best performance of Roy Buchanan, who we've talked about before on this program, and I have instructional material here on YouTube, kind of breaking down some of his techniques. He did a ripping version of that at Carnegie Hall in 1983. You can find it here on the magical, mystical tube we call the Internet. Okie dokie. Man, I'm on the jazz. That gets my heart rate pumping, that song does. You know what else gets my heart pumping? A good old shuffle. Folks, I've done this tune before. It's one of mine. I've just introduced it as Shuffleland. Tongue-in-cheek introduced it as Shuffleland, but I've decided to call it, after months of meditating, I've decided to call it the Sinister Shuffle, because it's absolutely disturbing, but it's glorious at the same time. So we'll do a little bit of that Sinister Shuffle. And that's that. Sinister Shuffle. A little bit spicy, a little bit groovy, and a lot of shuffly. A lot of fun, too. Oh, my pal Jake from Nashville. I'm glad I finally caught one of these awesome tunes. Thank you, sir. Jake is Jake and I go back to my Nashville days. He just started a band, the Carrot Flowers, I believe is the name. Garage rock. It's awesome stuff, dude. I've been really digging your music. I like that new record. Been playing it a lot as I try to fall asleep, but I can't do it because it rocks my skull. Anyways. Let's do something with a little bit of syncopation in it. How about that? How about some funk for your corns? There's a piece called Funkify Your Mind. I've noticed that the more Albert King I consume, the funkier my blues and other things get. So we've got this tune. It's called Funkify Your Mind. So as you know, I'm a fan of Greg Koch. He's a guitar player's guitarist. Kind of like Jeff Beck. And that role is now vacant if Greg Koch rises to the occasion. But he's got some instructional material that I've watched, and I've been going through his discography here the entire month of January. I'm almost done with it. And the best guitar lessons you can get are actually when you're not even really playing guitar. The best guitar lessons I've got have been watching, a lot of Jeff Beck recently, Hendrix, of course, and Stevie Ray Vaughan, who we'll get to some Stevie here a little bit later on. Just be patient with me. Or Hendrix, the best guitar lessons I've ever got are watching them on YouTube. The only guitar player I've seen Neil Young live, got a great guitar lesson, wonderful guitar lesson watching Neil Young. But as far as live experience goes, watching Mark Knopfler open for Bob Dylan about a decade or so ago was probably one of the best guitar lessons I've ever gotten in my entire life. Sorry to my parents who paid for guitar lessons for a few years there, but seeing these guys live is, or on YouTube, best guitar lessons I've ever got. Greg Koch also streams on YouTube here on Mondays and Fridays, doing his little thing. Gristle is his thing, and I'm an aspiring Gristle King. I'm not there yet, but we'll get there through dedication. Anyways, this is a funkier tune called Funkify Your Mind. Yes, that's the word you're looking for. More of that, please. This is very fruity. I'm not going to lie to you, folks. Red Hook, Tropical, Big Ballard is the company, Juicy IPA. It says, it's got this funny guy with a mustache. Oh, you can't see it. It says, yeah, sure, yeah, betcha. They don't sound like that over in that area of Washington, so I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that one out. Oh, I'm very excited about this. This is Beatnik Trousers time. Ooh! You know, nobody's making... part of the reason I have this song... okay, well, first of all, let me back up here. I have been self-conscious, I will not lie, about the song titled Beatnik Trousers. But listen here, folks. Referring again to Greg Koch, if he's got a song... if he can have a song called... well, he has a few songs that have weird names. He has a song called Tonus Diabolicus. Okay, first of all, I wish I thought of that. Second of all, it's awesome. Numero 2, he's got a song called Captain Comeover. I'll leave you with that. That's what they're going to call me here in a few years. What else? He's got Ernie Poundswell is also a song title. What? That's inappropriate. So listen, if he can have weird song titles like that, I think I'm entitled to a song called Beatnik Trousers. Or maybe I'll call it Unrelenting Terror. You know, Telecaster Terror, something like that. Terror, 6-string terror, something like that. There's got to be some type of adjective denoting fear. Because I get scared playing this. Actually, no, I don't. Only babies are afraid. I'm a fierce and mighty warrior, each and every single one of us. So we'll see how this turns out. Beatnik Trousers. You love to listen to it, and I love to play it, because doggone it, it just feels so right. Thank you. That's it. That's all I got. No, I kid. Beatnik Trousers. You know, I like that song because it's scary to play. I have to be paying very close attention to the chord changes that I wrote. The problem with that I ran into that song is I wrote it like 8 different ways, and each time I wrote it, it got a little bit longer, and so I kind of had to condense it. And by the time I started rehearsing it, I lost track of how many different versions there were of it, and so I started to get lost. But sometimes, in order to find things that must be found, you have to be good and lost. It's kind of like when you're at the cinema and you're watching a really bad movie and somebody leans over to you and they say, "Did you know this was based on a true story?" Like, it doesn't exactly help the experience. Beatnik Trousers. Yeah, I mean, folks, I'm going to be real with you. I don't see a lot of people out there making songs that just straight up rock, that melt people's faces and bust their guts, you know. And so with Beatnik Trousers, I threw everything but the kitchen sink at it, you know. I mean, this whole thing is kind of like a Greg Koch kind of. I came up with that riff trying to figure out one of his riffs, you know, and that's something he would approve of, you know. Sometimes you don't always get these things right, but you discover something new along the way. Perhaps the real guitar licks are the friends we made along the way. And speaking of guitar licks, folks, it's time to go to the poultry zone. We're going to take a drive into the chicken zone. We're going to do a little song that is tentatively called, well, it was called at one point, and the chickens took flight. Decided that was stupid, so I'm going to call it Poultry Nightmare. But every so often, your poultry nightmares, the soundtrack to them, are the artist and or band that you last listened to before falling asleep. And as often is the case with the Z-Man, that is Led Zeppelin. So, what I'm about to tell you, folks, is that sometimes the Poultry Nightmare becomes Chicken Zeppelin. Ouchie. Some mistakes in there, but we get through it. It's a work in progress. Jimmy Page never played it perfect anyways. Ooh, I'm very excited about this guitar switch. Did this a few weeks ago on the Silver Sky. Gotta check my tune-ins on this one too, I suppose. We're gonna do a little new tune. It's a tune called Secret Behind the Church. What's the secret? I can't tell you, because then it wouldn't be a secret, but I know you've got one. We've all got one. Maybe for you this song invokes the memory of the time that the foreign exchange student who already had facial hair broke your friend's glasses at the youth group dodgeball tournament. Or maybe it's invokes the memory of the time you made out with that weird midget chick behind the church. I don't know. You be the judge. I don't think we're supposed to say midget anymore, but I'm going to roll with it. Secret Behind the Church. We'll see how this goes. To me, it feels a little bit indicative. Yeah, that's the right word. Of a song called SRV by Eric Johnson. But I'll let you be the judge. Bit of a clean tone jam. You know, we've been getting filthy, but sometimes you got to clean it up. Sometimes, in other words, there's a church girl that you want to impress. You got to keep it You know, you got to keep it Proverbs 19, if you know what I mean, and I think you do. Oh, we got some YouTube comments here. We got some fire from my friend Matthew. Thank you, Big Diesel. Barbary Pirate. Looks like a crown emoji. I don't know what that means. Oh, Becky says, really enjoy your music, Zach. Thank you. Glad there's somebody out there besides me. Hopefully Dua Lipa. You know, hopefully I like to think that Dua Lipa has been secretly watching this live stream and ignoring the parts where I simp after her. Okay, folks, this is the moment of truth here for the Z-Man. I'm about to relive a little bit of a high school fantasy I've had. I'm gonna do a Stevie Ray Vaughan tune. We'll go on a little diatribe about Stevie here in a minute. But I just want to see if I can do this. You know, sometimes you gotta crawl to be tall. You gotta walk to run. The moment of truth. We're gonna do a little bit of that Texas Flood from that 1983 record of the same name by Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble. Here we go, On the Silver Sky. Well, it's flooding down in Texas. All the telephone lines are down. Well, I've been trying to call my baby. Well, I can't get a single sound. Dark clouds are rolling. Man, I'm standing out here in the rain. Well, dark clouds are rolling. Yes, I'm standing out here in the rain. Well, flood water, keep it rolling. Man, it's about to drive the Z-Man insane. Well, I'm leaving you, baby. Lord, I'm going back home to stay. Well, I'm leaving you, baby. Lord, I'm going back home to stay. Well, back home I know there's no floods or tornadoes. Babe, and the sun shines every day. Texas flood, more or less. So many words. Oh, I guess that was a clapping emoji. Sorry, I'm not wearing my glasses. Let's talk a little bit about Stevie Ray Vaughan. So we've hinted at previous installments of Musical Hangout here on the internet at the Stevie Ray Vaughan, but we've never actually dove in straight in. Stevie Ray Vaughan, he was born in Oak Hill, Texas, so that's a suburb of Dallas. And his first big guitar hero was his brother Jimmy Vaughan, the Fabulous Thunderbirds. Also, great name for a band. Jimmy Vaughan's still out there touring to this day. But around ninth grade, Stevie dropped out of high school, moved to Austin City, where he joined a few ensembles, some well known, like a group called the Cobras. But my favorite story of early Stevie Ray Vaughan, back before he was Stevie Ray Vaughan, was allegedly, and now I can't speak to the veracity of this claim, I present it merely for entertainment purposes, but allegedly Albert King was working at a blues club, playing a set in Austin, and Stevie Ray Vaughan begged the club owner for just 5 minutes on stage with Albert King. And the thing you got to understand about Albert King is this dude was about 6'3" and like 300 pounds, and he was known to have a temper. In fact, one of his nicknames is the Velvet Bulldozer. Man, what I wouldn't give to have a nickname like that. Everybody just calls me idiot or stupid head or something like that. But man, Velvet Bulldozer, what a nickname. That's how bad of a temper he got. Didn't much care for other guitar players. So when this scrawny little kid from Dallas is wanting to come on stage with him, it's understandable that the answer would be no. But finally, Stevie Ray Vaughan is able to get the club owner to acquiesce, and Albert King lets him up on stage, and Stevie Ray Vaughan does his thing, and he's going toe-to-toe with the Velvet Bulldozer in the guitar bite. And at the end of the night, Albert King puts his arm around Stevie Ray Vaughan and goes, "Little Stevie." And, a few years later, Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble, which was his new ensemble at the time, would make an appearance at I believe it was the Monterey Jazz Festival if you watch that performance, it's hard to not have your socks knocked clean off, but he was actually booed by the blues purists at the time who wanted, something like a Muddy Waters type of presentation, not this lean, mean, scrawny kid from Texas doing, he did Texas Flood there. I think he did Pride and Joy and Rude Mood. Man, if I could learn how to play Rude Mood, I would do it for you folks. But years later, my favorite, how I got introduced, actually, believe it or not, both Stevie Ray Vaughan and Albert King was PBS did a special called In Session with Albert King and Stevie Ray Vaughan, and it was kind of like a, Luke Skywalker meets Yoda moment there, where even though Stevie Ray Vaughan was very much the student in that situation there, he definitely impressed Albert King, and their interaction is the things I hold on to, I strive for in the back of my head. So do with that information what you will. I'm getting low on time, so I might as well just skip and go to, I'm going to do a Beatles tune for you. I've done Beatles before, some Jeff Beck inspired stuff, but here's one arrangement I cooked up myself of a tune called, I'm not going to tell you what it is because you've probably heard it before. Yeah. Here's a little bit of a Beatles jam. Little Let It Be. We're going to keep workshopping that one, I can tell you that. But, folks, actually, I'll tell you what. We'll do a little bit of a feeling bluesy. Do a little bit of a Chicago-style blues thing I've been working on here. Just for a little bit, just to flex a little bit of the blues muscles. Don't have a name for this, so we'll see how this goes. Something like that. Folks, it's time for this hangout to end. I know you're sad, and I know it went by super fast, mostly because I played a lot of upbeat songs. But be that as it may, we'll be back here. It will be the 7th of February. Can you dig it? For some singer-songwriters, I may or may not, for the singer-songwriter set, I may or may not, ladies and gentlemen and non-binaries of the internet, have a brand spanking new Follow Law song for you. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I'm Zach Hval, reminding you that it's always darkest before the dawn, so that's the time to steal the neighbor's car if you're going to do it. Bread is bread, cheese is cheese, praise God. Feeling very Scandinavian, so let's do some Scandinavian jokes. What do you say? So, a Norwegian goes to the psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist says, "What brings you in?" And the Norwegian says, "I'm feeling very depressed. I wish I was never born." I don't know what to do. What kind of car does a Norwegian drive? A Ford Fiesta. A computer programming friend of mine who's Norwegian sent me a program. I said, "That looks pretty good. You should call it Morse code." All right, here we go. Here's a good one. So a Dane, a Swede, and a Norwegian stumble across a magic fairy and 3 pools of water, and the fairy tells them that she'll turn the water into anything they want to once they jump in. So the Norwegian immediately jumps in and yells, "Soda pop!" So the water turns into soda pop. The Dane is up next, and as he jumps in, he yells, "Orange juice!" And the water turns into orange juice. Now the Swede is getting ready to make his leap when he starts to run, and right as he gets right to the edge, he slips and suddenly exclaims, "Oh, crap!" And he got one of them brown showers, if you know what I mean, and I think you do. Zach Hval, reminding you that the muse will never die. God bless.